This poem is for Malcom X, whose honesty frightened an empire more than violence ever could. The Fire Next Door for Malcom X. Before there was Malcom X, there was Malcolm Little, a boy who saw his father lynched by whispers and his mother broken by the same system that later swore it had reformed him. He rose from prison bars as if the steel itself had been a chrysalis. And when he spoke, you could hear the clanging of every chain that once bound his ancestors. In Harlem, the mosque lights burned through winter haze, and men came in from cold streets where hope was rationed by race. They came to hear a man who did not beg for love. He demanded respect. He stood in the pulpit like an electric storm wearing a suit, voice sharpened on scripture and struggle. You can't separate peace from freedom, he said, because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom. And the walls hummed like 1,000 clenched fists praying. He walked Lenox Avenue like a mirror turned toward America's face. He spoke to the hustlers, the barbers, the widows, the janitors scrubbing drains off marble floors. He spoke as if language itself was tired of being polite. He said what history refused to say, that colonialism did not retire, it rebranded. That democracy without equality is just well-dressed apartheid. That self-defense is not violence, it is memory remembering itself. They called him dangerous, which is to say, he was honest. They said he preached hate, but what he really preached was love of self in a world that taught us to disappear. He was not America's nightmare. He was her mirror, and the reflection frightened her. When he journeyed to Mecca, he saw the Ummah, faces of every shade circling the same truth. He wrote that the world could be one house if only we stopped guarding the doors. It softened him, not his fire, but its direction. He came back, seeing clearer, speaking of unity, of an Africa and diaspora unbroken, of justice that begins at home but refuses to stop at borders. Then came the betrayal. Bullets from brothers. A plot older than empire. Divide the dreamers, profit from the ashes. The Audubon ballroom became a crossroad. A man falls, but an idea rises like smoke and fills the room forever. Harlem wept. Accra lowered its flag. Cairo prayed. MLK watched in shocked silence. And the ancestors offered his soul a seat beside Marcus, beside the one Lumumba was already seated. The ancestors said, "Welcome, son. We saved your seat." Malcolm's death was not an end. It was a punctuation, a semicolon between rage and renaissance, between prophecy and possibility. His voice still walks Malcom X Boulevard in the shuffle of school kids reciting his name, in the murals where his eyes still question, in the Friday prayers that remember courage as a kind of ablution. He remains the echo that won't fade, the sermon that won't end, the man who refused to shrink his message to fit a world allergic to truth. If you listen close, you can still hear him during the Harlem Juma. His words threading through the adhan. The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. And somewhere between the muezzin's cry and the subway's groan, his spirit insists, by any means necessary, but with purpose. Malcolm, you are not a matter for memory. You're a syllabus for freedom. Your name is now a compass, pointing every scattered son and daughter back toward dignity. You stood before the empire and said, "We are not afraid." And though the bullets came, we still aren't, because your blood became the ink that signed our next declaration of humanity. Rest El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz.